Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So first of all, I'm going to rebut their points. First, they stated that why is institutional reform morally justified? They answered these questions by saying that they need significant presence of police because of the domination of crime starting in USA right now. And actually, by defund the police, they stated that it means that the police department will be understaffed and will be less of weaponry and everything. Well, we actually deny this because we have another characterizations of defunding the police, which I will explain later in my arguments. And actually, ladies and gentlemen, the police is not only one department, right? They have a lot of part of their department. Their departments have, each state has their own department, and in that state is also again divided from sectors to sectors, and every sector has their own police department. And that is actually why every sectors and every area of the society are able to be monitored by this police, and that is actually why and how this police can tackle every problems that is in the society. There's in the society by having these sectors and everything, and also to tackle bigger problem like domestic problem and everything. They also has the higher department of police side, like the state department that has more resources and everything, and the bigger problem of course will be solved by this bigger and higher department, right? And also they stated that they want to say that the racist police doesn't mean that they reflect the whole department, and we actually agree that one racist police doesn't reflect the whole department, but actually, ladies and gentlemen, the whole department still has the responsibility of every police officers under their department, and this I will explain later deeper in my arguments. And also they stated that they want to send the narrative that there are opportunities for you to redeem yourself and to show that you're not always racist, and this is exactly what we want to do by doing this defunding police. Because by defund the police department, we actually will make the police department do introspection to themselves of what they have done, and by this we also will send the narrative towards the society that people are not always racist because this police department already do the introspections and fix what is wrong with them. And then actually they stated that it creates trust within the community because they want to recreate people from a community of colors like Asian and Black and any other in the police department. But what we want to question in here is how do you ensure that that is effective enough to solve the problems we have in the status quo? Because we want to say that it is actually not effective at all. You're just creating more problems. Because first, how can you ensure that the racism will not happen within the department itself instead of the police department itself? Because you only solve one problem, but you create another problem, and you're not fixing the real system, ladies and gentlemen. And now, move to my team's arguments. First of all, the conditions that we have right now, the status quo, we simply, ladies and gentlemen, deny the characterizations of defunding police. They stated that the defunding police sounds like we take all the money from the police and not giving them any kind of resources, and then make them understaffed and everything like that. But we actually, ladies and gentlemen, doing defunding police doesn't mean that we will take away all their money without counting it. It's just another form of punishments, right? And that's why we will count and consider every possibilities to be able to harm this police department enough, but not until stop them from doing their own job and their own responsibility. And we also will reallocate the funding towards those social services, housing, healthcare, and even towards the activism that is support anti-racism. And also, this way, we will not only take their funding for known, and the mechanisms that we have in here is first we would like to form this council for monitoring the work of the police, and also considering how bad the level of the abusement or misconduct, how high is the impact that they cause, and whether it caused death, injured, or simply affected by their verbal racism, for example. And then second, we would like to defund the police based on the level of the implication. The defund will be reallocated to either pay the hospital payment of the victim or either to support anti-racism movements in social works, or even to prioritizingly use it for the abusement case investigation. And ladies and gentlemen, However, I stated before that the department has the responsibility of the police officers under them. And actually, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Department of Police has the responsibility of people under them. We're not saying that we're not going to punish the guilty police. We're going to punish them, of course, but we are also going to punish the department because, however, the police department and all people in it has the responsibility to both train and educate their police officers to do their job well. To not doing any violence, and when the moment these police officers do abusement and misconduct, then it simply means that the whole police department are not able to ensure that the activity of those police during work are what they are indeed supposed to do. And when actually the other police officers has the ability and capable enough to either prevent or stop the misconduct or abusement, they do not prevent or stop this abusement. And that is why they are also responsible of the abusement and brutality that is happening. It's just like parents and children. When your children go wrong, then the parents is also going to be blamed, right? And that's just how it goes. And also, ladies and gentlemen, the first of my points of argumentations is first, when the police do this misconduct or abusement, that simply means that the police doesn't only do racism action, but also wrong use of their weapon, violence towards innocents, and even involving emotions at work. When all those facilities that they are using when they are doing this brutality is actually, the source is actually from our own fund, right? We give them a big amount of fund, but they do it and use it in the wrongdoings. Police department already got a big amount of funding along with our hope for them to fulfill their responsibility. First, the responsibility is create an environment that is full of safety and secure and protect all layers of the society. But by what they are doing, it is actually very contradictory with their own responsibility and their own purpose, because what they are doing is abusing. So the question is, for what do we give them the fund if they use it from wrong use? And in institutional reform, in the other side, we are doing is we actually give punishment towards the guilty police only and not towards the department. The solution might be able to fix the problem when the condition is not this bad. How bad is actually the conditions right now? The amount of racism and police brutality is too high, ladies and gentlemen. Even not so long after George Floyd case, we already found the new case, like the case of Jacob Blake. It's just not so long ago. It shows how high the level of racism in the country is. And actually, by the funding, we actually show the society that the government is serious enough and care enough to tackle it and finish these problems. And by the fund, the police will actually try and do some efforts to gain trust again from the society, to gain the trust that they already lost before. And actually, if you're doing these institutional reforms, it means that you only blame the individual without giving them incentive to do the introspection themselves. And I think that's why we choose to defund the police itself. Thank you.